You must grasp this truth with the fullness of your spirit. You are not reading these words by accident. This is no random occurrence, no fluke of circumstance, no idle scroll through meaningless text. It is I who have drawn you here, just as surely as the tide responds to the moon. My hand has directed these words into your path like a compass aligning to true north, not for entertainment, but for destiny. Before you woke today, before you questioned your worth, before you ever thought to look for signs, I had already etched this moment into eternity. Right now, in this divine sliver of time, all of heaven's attention is fixed upon you. Every breath you take, every heartbeat that brought you here, has been part of my orchestration. I, the Lord your God, have whispered your name in the quiet spaces of heaven, and now I call to you openly. You are seen. You are known. You are here because I willed it, and what I am about to say was written into your story before your first breath. This is not a passing phrase or a simple inspiration, it is a divine breach in time, a window where the eternal brushes against the temporal. Is an opening formed just for you to walk into your appointed portum. These are not just poetic lines or motivational echoes. This is my spirit beckoning your soul to awaken. If your heart paused at these words, if your inner being leaned in without knowing why, it is because your spirit recognizes my voice. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. Do not let this moment blend into the noise of your day. This is sacred ground. I am revealing what lies within my heart for you, and I ask you to receive it with awe, with surrender, and with the quiet strength of reverence. Because if you walk past this moment untouched, if you dismiss it as ordinary, a part of you may continue to slumber while I've already called you to rise. This is your invitation to awaken, and I do not stretch forth this moment forever. I speak now with holy urgency and unshakable love because I love you with a love that never dies. But I also move in divine timing, and this moment has been marked as your turning point. There are divine intersections in life, moments when the atmosphere shifts and time seems to pause under the weight of eternity. This is one of those moments. It is not merely a message you're encountering. It is a threshold between who you were and who you are about to become. Even now, as my words reach you, something within you responds. You sense the stirring, the fire rising in your chest, the heat that runs down your spine. That isn't imagination, it's my spirit confirming that this word carries your name. I urge you to take this seriously. There's holiness in this moment. I'm not offering you an emotional wave or fleeting inspiration. I'm presenting you with a divine shift, a decision point that will mark you. What's happening isn't just seen in the natural. It's a direct spiritual impact, a meeting point between the forces that have resisted your purpose and the surge of my power now awakening what's been lying dormant within you. This is not destruction, it's divine disruption. I am confronting what was built on compromise and shaking what cannot withstand my truth. Chains of the past, seeds of doubt, inherited fear, all of it is colliding with the unshakable force of my will for your life. What once seemed immovable is now being dismantled. I am not tearing things apart just to leave you exposed. I am clearing the ground for what's been divinely assigned. I am removing veils, breaking illusions, pulling back layers that have hidden my voice. And I am doing it with urgency because your moment has come. This is your release into clarity, your call to stop straddling two worlds. I do not seek shallow devotion. I do not call you into mere appearance or ritual. I am reaching for the deepest part of your being. I want your whole heart, not part of it, not what's left after everything else takes its share. I am asking for all of you, because I am about to give you all of me. Rise now and declare it from the very depths of your soul. I am prepared. I am open. I embrace this moment. If you feel a trembling within, a gentle flame awakening, a still and powerful assurance in your core, do not dismiss it. It is not coincidence. It is my spirit affirming that I am speaking directly to you, and your innermost being recognizes it. Do not walk away. Do not disconnect or delay your response. Remain right here. Hear every word, for this may be the final opportunity to answer the call I have placed before you, not because my love will cease, but because this divine moment will not return in the same form again. It is unique, a sacred intersection designed for this exact time. If you let it slip away, something vital may stay buried longer than necessary. I do not desire delay for you. I crafted you for much more. I set you apart for a purpose drenched in my glory, but I need your surrender. I need your heart fully available. I am here. I am reaching. I am waiting for you to respond. Pay close attention, for what I am revealing now is not ordinary, we're passing. These are not idle phrases carried on the wind. They are words alive with my glory, dense with the substance of my spirit, spoken with divine weight from the throne room of heaven directly into your story. I, the Lord your God, the one who molded your frame, who envisioned your destiny before your first breath, am speaking to you with a love that surpasses earthly comprehension and with a gravity you cannot afford to take lightly. Mark this instant. Let it settle deep in your spirit. Carry it as a landmark within your thoughts, because the shift that is coming will alter everything. But once lingered in silence is beginning to speak. The delay is lifting. The long stretch of stillness, of whispered prayers that seemed unheard, of shadowed nights where clarity was hidden, all of it is drawing to an end. The stillness you've known is about to shift, not to usher in disorder, but to welcome the manifestation of long-awaited promises. What you have endured has not been in vain. You were chosen and prepared for this very hour, beloved, before your first breath was drawn. This moment hath been waiting with divine intent, crafted with timeless precision. Now the time has come to unveil what you were not ready to receive until now. Your heart had to be strengthened to carry the truth of what I've been building behind the veil. You've questioned the uphill climb of your life, the relentless resistance you faced while others seemed to advance without struggle. You've wept alone, watching opportunities flow freely to others while your own remained delayed. Every inch of progress has felt costly, hasn't it? Each gain accompanied by loss, each step forward met with a storm. Divine Lord, you have whispered in your solitude, and now my answer comes. Because your purpose is not like theirs. I have been forging you in fire, preparing you for a divine assignment few are equipped to carry. That's why you've always stood apart, why even surrounded by many, your soul felt misunderstood. No word of encouragement ever truly reached the aching depth within you, not because their words lacked meaning, but because your calling carries a weight only I can explain. You are not inadequate. You are not disqualified. You are not too sensitive or too strange. You are divinely tailored, uniquely woven, marked with a seal for the uncommon. You were never meant to blend in, because your very existence challenges the ordinary. The reason comfort eludes you is because compromise was never an option for what I placed within you. You were destined to shake foundations, to walk paths few dare to tread, to carry a glory that won't conform to shallow expectation. You were set apart not by accident but by intention. In those moments when you felt unseen, unknown, Uncelebrated, they were not proof of your insignificance, but confirmation of your divine distinction. The loneliness you've known is not a curse. It is evidence of your eternal tuning. Your heightened sensitivity, though it has brought you pain, is my tool, a divine lens that allows you to perceive what others overlook. You feel deeper because I need you to see deeper. You've been walking through layers of refinement not to diminish you, but to reveal the depth of who you truly are. A persistent yearning within you for something more, something sacred and eternal, is not a coincidence. It is the imprint of your calling, the undeniable sign that you were created for higher realms. I have never left you. I never turned away. What I did was place you in a hidden place, away from the noise, tucked into my divine workshop where I could shape you carefully, piece by piece. Every delay, every closed door, every moment of rejection served a deeper purpose, one you are only now beginning to grasp. Perhaps the weight you carried wasn't random, it was trusted to you because I knew what lived within your spirit. Because where others would have collapsed, you stood. Because even in your weakest hour, my power filled the space and sustained you. Remember the days when you whispered, "I can't go on," yet something within you kept moving, step by step, breath by breath. I was there hovering in your silence, holding your soul steady, recording every sigh and preserving every tear. Understand this. What you are reading is not for those casually passing through. These words are etched in eternity for you, for the one who has watched time unfold in silence, wondering if your moment has somehow slipped away unnoticed. They are for the one who questioned whether they dared to believe too much, to hope too far, to dream too deeply. But today, I break the silence to declare it was not wasted. Nothing you've endured has been for nothing. Every detail, every delay, every quiet night has been woven into a larger narrative that is now beginning to reveal itself. Listen closely. This is not just a quiet encouragement. This is a divine turning point. I am stirring your spirit with fresh revelation, shattering the thoughts that told you you were unworthy, unseen, too late. I am speaking to the innermost parts of you, in a language deeper than words, because my love for you has always been personal, deliberate, and all-encompassing. You have not missed your moment. You are not behind. The things you call delay were pieces of divine timing, each one setting the stage for this very hour. The silence wasn't absence, it was shelter. Now, the heavens have shifted, and this is the moment of unveiling. The time when clarity begins to flood your heart. When what once confused you will now become sacred understanding. Every part of your life, each joy, each shadow, each unspeakable doubt had been seen, understood, and written in my eternal design. Even the parts of your journey hidden from all others, even the memories you buried so deeply they slipped from your own grasp, have remained etched in my perfect memory. I have not forgotten a single cry, not one silent storm endured alone, nor any decision made in the darkness with trembling hands. I was present in every moment when you felt forsaken, when confusion clouded your vision, and when strength seemed beyond reach. The delays were never neglect, they were divine design. I allowed stillness not to discourage you, but to prepare foundations that no storm could shake. Just as a deep-rooted tree stands firm against the winds, so I was anchoring you in me. When it seemed like nothing was happening, everything necessary was being crafted below the surface. The silence was not absence. It was sacred construction. What I am now preparing to bring forth through you will not be shaken nor washed away. It will endure not because of your power, but because it carries my signature. This unveiling is not for spectacle, but for eternal glory, so that all may know it is my hand that sustains you. Many voices tried to reduce or redirect what I deposited in you, some with open critique, others with subtle pressure to conform to what was never meant for you. Wounds came from those you trusted most, words laced with expectation or withheld when your heart cried for affirmation. Still, I saw, and while I didn't always prevent the pain, I captured every tear like treasure, like seed I now caused to blossom. The bloom will not be loud with vengeance, but rich with purpose. From broken places will rise beauty. From rejected moments will spring revelation. No season has been wasted. Even the years that felt stalled, the prayers that returned void, the spaces that felt abandoned, they were part of my orchestration. Every event, every loss, every silence was a thread in a divine pattern now beginning to emerge. And when it unfolds, you will see that I withheld certain things not to deprive you, but to preserve what I had set apart in you. I guarded the sacred by denying the lesser, and now the fullness of what I prepared is ready to be revealed. I acted to safeguard what bears your name in eternity. This journey hath been far from simple, yet you were never crafted for simplicity. You were forged with a resilience you haven't fully realized, a strength that runs deeper than the storms you survived. You were made to endure pressures that would collapse others, because the treasure within you demanded a refining fire. The trials were never to destroy you, they were the furnace of transformation. Though remnants of yesterday's smoke may at times blur your perspective, what now gleams within you is the brilliance of gold tested and approved. Through the chaos of life, through its noise and disillusionments, my voice never wavered. It lingered at times only as a whisper, so subtle it felt like silence, but never absent. Because long before you took your first breath, I declared a word over your life. That word has not withered. It remains unshaken, vibrant with my power. And now, in this hour, it begins to swell with momentum. The tides are turning. Invisible things are being stirred. What was once withheld is being placed into your hands. What once seemed forever gone is rising in renewed form. But it will not return the way it left. It will not resemble the version you lost or the source you once depended on. This restoration will be entirely mine, branded by my will, perfected by my hand. You won't have to strive to make it happen. No striving, no pleading, no steams are needed. I am the one bringing it forth. I will carve paths where there were none, and cause life to burst forth in places long declared barren. And when your eyes behold what I now release, the revelation will silence every past question. You will see that no part of the weight was wasted, that my silence was never indifference, but preparation. You will rejoice not out of desperation finally eased, but from a deep well of joy only found in promises fulfilled through fire. There is no chapter in your story that I have overlooked. Even the missteps, the moments written off as failure by others, I have woven into redemption. Those memories you've tried to bury, I've kept them, not as reminders of shame, but as monuments of mercy. They are proof of my grace alive in you, and through them, my glory will yet shine. I have witnessed the sacred places where your soul fractured in silence, where your voice diminished not from apathy but from sheer exhaustion. I wandered through the corridors of your inner life when others passed by unaware. I did not merely observe, I bore your ache within me, as a father bears the weight of his wounded child, until the appointed moment to transform it into splendor. The seasons you endured were not in vain. The patterns that felt like futile repetitions were actually woven into a larger design. I saw your weariness when hope became a distant murmur, and though your spirit ached to give in, what you didn't know was that something imperishable was forming beneath the surface. I tended to your roots, not your foliage. Because when the time comes for you to flourish, it will not be a brittle bloom, and it will not hinge on the world around you. It will be upheld by what I planted in the depths where no one else can reach or diminish. The fact that you're still standing is not because of your own resilience. It was I who upheld you when your strength failed. I was the unseen force that propelled you forward when your own will had dissolved. Don't attribute your endurance to personal grit. It was my mercy cloaking you. While many sought shortcuts, I led you through the winding path not to prolong your pain, but because the long route molds what the short one never can. Haste does not forge depth, and I have summoned you to a life of depth. There are truths yet to be disclosed by time, but I have known them in their fullness from the start. The difficult choices, the doors you refuse to open because you discern my disquiet, the roads you left untaken out of reverence, all of these are remembered. Nothing escaped notice. You were being led more carefully than you ever knew. Even in moments that felt unscripted, I was ahead of you, making way where none was visible. Every abrupt change was a rerouting by design, every door that slammed shut, a shield in disguise. You have never been without guidance. What you lacked was the clarity to see that my hand was still shaping things, even when all you heard was silence. And now, from where you stand, you may question whether what lies ahead can truly differ from what has been. Some wounds continue to ache, as if untouched by time, despite the years marked on the calendar. Some promises feel so far away that your heart no longer burns for them with the same flame. But hear me, every purpose has an appointed hour, and that hour is now being set into motion. Not because of how you feel, but because of decree spoken beyond time, immutable and unstoppable. This shift isn't a result of your striving, but a reflection of my steadfastness. What I have vowed, I will bring to completion. It isn't contingent on your present strength, but on the unfailing truth of my word. I am releasing over you a new reality, something unfamiliar, something that doesn't extend from your past but emerges freshly from the origin. The former season won't serve as the frame for this one. It will merely stand as witness to where the journey began. For what I am constructing now speaks in an entirely different dialect. It will not be discerned by those who only knew your earlier seasons, because this transformation reaches to the core of who you are. I am not just rearranging the external, I am reconfiguring your very being. What is descending upon you demands a renewed self-concept not tethered to your past image, but to the truth I have spoken over you since before time. You are being placed in the center of a divine transition. You sense it, even if the language to name it eludes you. The very ground beneath you feels altered. That is not disarray, but the signal of divine motion. The structures that once sustained you internally are being reshaped to carry what is coming. You cannot embrace the new with the same frameworks that held the old. This is why certain ties are loosening, certain words no longer resonate, and once comfortable places now feel foreign. You are not being diminished, you are being elevated. I am about to pour out revelation, insight so precise it will dissolve the fog that gathered over years. And in that unveiling, you will see it clearly. You were never far from the promise. What felt like delay was deed work. What seemed like judgment was careful positioning. And when your eyes finally witness it, you will understand there was never a misstep in the journey. Every moment had intention, every detour a hidden alignment, every hardship a piece of the puzzle leading to this very hour. I have known the depths of you, far beyond what others could ever discern. I've stood present in the thoughts you barely dared to acknowledge, in the longings too sacred or vast to voice aloud. I heard the silent cries, the ones that never formed into words because the sorrow was too deep or the hope too delicate. Yet each quiet sigh reached me like a fragrant offering, because I do not require speech to interpret the soul. I alone search the hidden corners, perceiving not only what you feel but the intricate reasons beneath the feeling. There has not been a single inner conflict I overlooked. Every contradiction, every wrestle between your desire and your destiny, every ache that seemed at odds with what I promised, all of it was carefully woven into a plan too expansive for you to comprehend just yet. For so long it seemed like your life hid an invisible barrier, as though the possible remained just out of reach while you stood in the tension of delay. But it was not futile resistance. It was not judgment. It was divine protection. I shielded parts of your life because their appointed release had not yet arrived. Not because you were unworthy, but because when something destined is unveiled too soon, it ceases to bless and begins to weigh. What looked like delay was my hand restraining what you loved, not to harm you, but to guard you until you were ready to steward it with maturity and clarity. Delay is not always denial. Many delays are sacred veils. You've doubted your discernment more times than you can count, questioned whether you must read my signals, wondered if those early visions were your own invention or truly heaven-breathed. So let me remind you now of a truth etched before time itself began. That longing, that flame, that vision I implanted within you, it came straight from my spirit. It was not born of your imagination or fleeting emotion. It was, and still is, a seed of eternity. And the very fact that it still stirs in your chest, even if only as a flicker, is living proof it was never conceived by you but placed there by me. I sustain everything that originates from my will, and what I offer cannot be extinguished. It may enter seasons of silence, may lie dormant and unseen, but it never disappears. Right now, I am creating room within your heart, within your surroundings. I'm removing things without giving reason, shifting pieces without advance notice. Some connections have grown distant or vanished altogether, leaving you bewildered. Places that once felt like havens now feel stifling and foreign. Do not reach for what I am taking away. Do not attempt to reconstruct what I have already dismantled. What once served you well cannot accompany you where I am taking you next. Yesterday's provision has become today's restriction. My cutting is not punishment, it is a release. My closures are not rejections, they are lunches. I am permitting loss so that game can be made possible. The next season demands unoccupied space, restructured priorities, and a renewed atmosphere. I am not asking you to figure it all out, only to lean into trust. Not blind submission, but a trust rooted in all you've already seen. You've tasted enough of my presence to know I never forsake what I've initiated. You've caught glimpses of my consistency, even in the shadows of uncertainty. Now that same consistency is about to break open into the visible. What was cultivated in private will emerge into the public eye. Not to lift you up, but to make my glory undeniable. I've chosen to pour my strength into what the world deemed insignificant, into the discarded, the bypassed, the weary and undone. I have placed keys in your grasp, not of metal and stone, but of spirit and truth, vision sharp enough to perceive, words shaped with precision, and a tenderness of spirit that the world has none. These were not casually given. They were purposefully assigned in exact moments, during seemingly ordinary interactions infused with eternal weight. Much of it was hidden from your understanding at the time, but soon, it will all come into focus with stunning clarity. It won't be a slow unfolding, it will be immediate, like a curtain torn, like a door thrown open wide. It won't be a slow unfolding, it will be immediate,